We own the trademark presidential reality show. We took it out when he ran in 2016. And again, we were the first magazine to call him a winner. By the way, I didn't think he'd win this time around. I got it wrong because in the midterm elections, abortion was the major issue. And that's why the Republicans didn't do well, even though inflation was skyrocketing and Biden's poll ratings were down in the toilet. I thought it would be an issue this time. It wasn't. I saw only like 12% of the people were concerned about it. How come he didn't speak about taking over the Panama Canal, about Greenland, about renaming the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America? How come he didn't say this during his campaign? So to me, the guy's just playing the game. Yeah, Trump's campaign promises end the war in Ukraine before Inauguration Day. He said this in September. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. Now he's telling it's going to be another 100 days after you get in. He also said in a May 20 CNN town hall that he'd end the conflict in 24 hours. So again, it's just more BS. That's to us is the greatest wild card that we see is the Trump. Again, is he going to do what he's going to do with tariffs? Because you look at the past, he did it on some, didn't do it on the other. And by the way, I totally support the tariff thing because you go back again, once upon a time, before that other may he rot in hell, Woodrow Wilson, who gave us World War I, the federal income tax and the IRS, there was no income tax. They used to get the money from tariffs. And where I am up in Kingston, New York, there were shirt factories all over the place, all over New York. The thing called the Rust Belt wasn't rusting when we had manufacturing in it. And so I believe in becoming self-sufficient and self-sustaining nation. And you can only do it with tariffs. And if you need proof of how well it works, all you have to do is look at, again, making connections between different fields. Take a look at the Ukraine war. Biden put tariffs and sanctions on Russia. Companies pulled out of there. He, quote, Putin's going to pay the price. Putin didn't pay the price. We said Russia has all the resources, human and natural, to become self-sufficient. And that's what they did. They took over the companies that the West left. Their economy's doing great. Inflation's high, but they're becoming more self-sufficient. Same thing's going on with China. They don't want to be made in anywhere else other than made in China. So I believe in the country becoming self-sufficient. And look, I want to import that prosciutto from Italy and that fine wine from France. But how about making the shoes, the clothes, and other things here? And by the way, I'm the same age as Trump. Oh, by the way, these tough guys that talk about war, he got 5 draft deferments during the Vietnam War. Didn't go, I got a bone spur on my ankle. His daddy got him out. And same thing with Biden. So going back to Vietnam, how they taught us to hate the Vietnamese, those dirty commies, if we don't stop them, they're going to take over Asia. That's our second largest importer of clothing and shoes from Vietnam. It's still commies. Oh yeah, but we're doing good business with them. We're making a lot of money, all right? So shut your mouth. One time in the 1970s, I was a government affairs specialist for a trade association that represented the chemical industry. And at 28 years old, I was staying at the Willard Hotel and putting my meetings on at the Hay Adams, which is right across from the White House. I was killing environmental legislation at the height of the environmental movement. All I wanted to do was make money and have And then I started to grow up when I was around 32. By that time, I was the number 2 guy running this trade association. Have a picture of me and Ronald Reagan when I picked him up at the Chicago Hilton in 1976. I was 30 years old and put on a brunch for 16 of our board of directors. And he addressed our group. And then the Iranian conflict started breaking out. Everybody was taught to hate Iran, having no idea of how the United States, the CIA, and the MI6 overthrew the democratically elected government of Mossadegh in Iran in 1953. Because Mossadegh had the nerve, the gall, to say, no, this oil does not belong to Anglo-Iranian oil, better known today as BP, or Standard Oil, better known today as ExxonMobil. It belongs to the Iranian people. No, it doesn't. That scumbag that everybody bows down to and sucks up to, Winston, son of a may you rot in hell, Churchill, and Kermit Roosevelt with the MI6 and the CIA brought in that murderous bastard, the Shah, brought him in from southern France, created the Savak, the secret police, and slaughtered hundreds of thousands of people. So when the revolution began, as this thing is real, I'm watching millions of people, they have had it. Oh, Jimmy Carter, and everybody's bowing down to Jimmy Carter. Yeah, that's when I became a trend forecaster. When Carter came back from spending New Year's Eve with the Shah and his wife and said, quote, the Shah is the island of stability in the Middle East. In the Bronx, we used to have a saying, it has its own sound. I said, they're going to overthrow this thing. And I became a political atheist at that moment. And again, as everybody's honoring Carter, this is the guy that deregulated the airline industry so the bigs could own it, deregulated the railroads, deregulated trucking. This is the guy that created Mujahideen, better known today as Al-Qaeda. Arrogant, may he rot in hell. Brzezinski. Oh, I forgot his daughter plays that clown show on MSNBC. With that other off over there. So I said to myself, I bet oil and gold prices are going to go up. And I started playing the futures markets. I turned a $10,000 bet, $5,000 in each one, into almost $750,000. And I quit my job. As a matter of fact, this is one of my books, Trend Tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time Magazine. And I tell the story in this book. I mean, grow the hell up. How could you look up to the balls running the show? And again, I wouldn't know what I know if I wasn't on the other side. I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate. I worked on major political campaigns in Westchester County, which is the richest county in America at the time, and designed and instructed a course called American Politics and Campaign Technology, how to run political campaigns. And I taught it at St. John's University. And I called it at that time the Socioeconomic Research Institute of America, because anytime you talked about trends, oh, you mean fashion trends? Oh, you mean music trends? And by the way, that's the same stupid crap that people talk about now. Google up top trends for 2025. They don't mention us. An expert, this USA Today, this is what men will be wearing in 2020. What are you talking to them? Well, we came out with our top trends for 2025. And two of them is the wild card and the trump card. And the wild card is, look what's going on in the Middle East. And it's not hardly talked about. The slaughter going on, the genocide being committed by the United States, just sending another $500 million, by the way, to Ukraine as well. $8 billion a couple of weeks ago to Israel to keep the bombing and killing the people. And now Israel's expanding the war into Syria. They control now 30% of the water there. They took over a dam. And they're violating the agreement for the ceasefire in Lebanon. And now Trump getting the wild card, they're talking about going after Iran, both the Trump administration and the Netanyahu gang. If we go to war against Iran, and again, going back to how I began a trend forecast about Iran, it may be the end of life on earth. There's a thing that Israelis have called the Samson option. If they lose, they're going to go nuclear. They have between 200 to 400 nuclear warheads. There's no way in the world that Israel can defeat Iran. Israel, when you take the Arab population out of it, has about 7 million people. Iran has 91 million, and they're very advanced, the Persians, technologically, scientifically, philosophically. They're very on top of this thing. So that's my greatest concern. Now, if they go to war, goes back to the economy. What we say in trend forecasting, all things are connected. And the other one is opportunity misses those who view the world through the eyes of their profession. So if we're talking about an economist, they're only looking at the economic factors. They don't know, as we'd say in the Bronx, about what's going on geopolitically. Oh, and just the facts about that. In the presidential election, you could Google it up, look up the facts. 3% of the people that voted for Kamala Harris, foreign policy was a major issue, 4% for Trump. That's it. They don't know what's going on geopolitically. They only know sound bites of crap coming from the prostitutes in the mainstream media. If the United States or Israel go to war against Iran in any way, you're going to see Brent crude, which is now, as we're speaking, selling at around $77 a barrel, go up to like $130 a barrel. That will crash the global economy and the equity markets. So those are the things we're looking at. And this is serious and it's real. Then you go to the Ukraine war. Oh, Trump, you elect me, I'm going to stop that war in 24 hours. That's a quote. Now, you know what? The Kellogg clown that he got running the show over there, oh, the former general, yeah. Give us 100 days. Hey, Gatson, he said 24 hours. And then they asked Trump, how are you going to end this in 24 hours? I'm not going to tell you. No, I'm not going to tell you because I'm full of crap. Now it's 100 days. So here's what's going to happen. They're going to ramp up this Ukraine war. They may blow up a nuclear power plant, some kind of false flag event that's going to unite the people to keep fighting the Russians. Those are the things we're concerned about. And the people follow. 90% of Americans swallow the crap coming out of the mouth of a little piece of dumb crap Little Georgie Bush, a daddy's boy. And these are, by the way, it's one big club, as George Carlin said, and you ain't in it. I had lunch with Trump's brother, Robert, back in 2017 when Trump was president. He had to run a restaurant over here in Wassaic, which is on the other side of the river from me in Kingston. Right. The brother told me the father left him over $500 million worth of real estate, etc. Another daddy's boy. So going back to what's going to happen and how people swallow the crap coming out of little Georgie Bush's mouth, we're going to get that guy Osama bin Laden dead or alive. 90% of the American people swallow the crap spewing out of his mouth. So going back to, there's going to be a false flag event that's going to unite the people for more war. That's my greatest concern. What did he say a couple of days ago? If they don't release the hostages, there'll be hell to be paid. Oh, there's hell being paid right now for the Palestinian people. And then look at the people he brought in. One Zionist after another. Oh, Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, she's anti-war. No, she's pro-Zionist. One after another. That Huckleberry, that little clown boy. And I'm tired of hearing this fairy tale, by the way. God told Abraham that this land belongs to you. Hey, it got sown. God only spoke to Abraham. Would God have lockjaw for 3,500 years ago? I got to believe this fairy tale. Trump, to me, is going to go pro-Israel in every way, considering the money he's gotten from Marion Adelson. Your old man, Sheldon Adelson, had given him $100 million before. She gave him, what, $200 million this time? Whatever the numbers, again, big numbers. And Trump moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem when he was president and said to Israel, hey, you know that land you stole from the Syria and the Golan Heights? It's yours. Go back to March 2024. Listen to Kushner's speech at Harvard that Gaza land is, quote, very valuable waterfront property. Palestinians should be moved into the Negev desert. All right.